wrap correctly. There are different ways to wrap, but this is the best one that I have come across. You're gonna go ahead and extend your wraps all the way and try to make sure that they're not tangled up too much, because it's gonna be a little bit difficult later on while you're wrapping if it gets really tangled up. It's just gonna take more time. So I have a little more flimsier wrap. This is gonna be a little more challenging for me versus the thicker ones. However, I want to use a flimsier one in case if y'all have a flimsier one, so you can see what I'll be talking about when it comes to being careful with the creases and stuff. So we have a part that's straight blue and a part that says this side is down. Obviously, this side will be down. So I'm gonna take my thumb and I'm gonna go ahead and place my thumb into the loop, and the wrapping is gonna be on the outside of my wrist, not underneath, on the outside. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start my wrapping. However, I wanna make sure my hand is fully flexed, my fingers are open and extended, because once I start to wrap and get tight, it starts to get tighter, and we wanna make sure that we're not cutting off circulation. So by engaging and flexing my arm the whole time, once I'm finished, I will be able to relax, and that will create more wiggle room, because if you don't do that, eventually you'll start to get kind of numb and tingly, and then you'll have to like loosen it up. So this is just a way to prevent from that happening. So fully extend those hands and those fingers. We're gonna go ahead and start wrapping 4 times around the wrist. So down and under, 1, trying to keep the wrapping as nice and smooth as possible. 2, and nice and snug. 3, but we're not yanking on it. Now, we're gonna go ahead and go to the knuckles. So from the outside, or where my pinky is, I'm gonna go down, under, and over where that L, the pointer finger and the thumb are, wrapping over on top. Make sure it's nice and secure. But again, 2, 3, and then again 4. So 4 is the magic number. Then from there, we're gonna go ahead and come underneath to my thumb and my wrist. So this is the more challenging part of the whole thing, because we're gonna wrap our thumb. Now, notice I mentioned before that this wrapping is a little bit thinner, so I wanna keep it as straight as possible without any crinkles. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it under where my wrist and thumb are, and then I go diagonally, bring it up, and wrap it around my thumb. Trying to see that fold right there? We don't wanna have that fold. We want it nice and straight as much as possible. Then from there, I'm gonna come up and diagonally around to the other side of my wrist, and then I'm gonna give a good squeeze to make sure that I can actually bend, because if I'm tightening it too much here and I'm finished, it's gonna be really hard to grab and grip. So we wanna make sure that we're testing it. So right after that loop, go and fist it, and that's gonna hold it in place. Then we're gonna do that again. Open, diagonally, wrap it around, nice and gentle, keeping the creases from happening. And then once I cross over, grip, and I'm gonna do that one more time, cross it over. And so if you didn't extend your wrap all the way to the ground and not have it tangled, this is where the part's gonna get pretty frustrating. It's all tangled already, and I already flattened it out and lengthened it. So just so you know, it'll be a little bit frustrating. So I did that 2 times. You can do it a 3rd time. It really just depends on, maybe you've damned your thumb and you feel like a little exposing and you want a little more comfort. You can do that again. You don't necessarily have to do 4 times versus the wrist and the knuckles. Now, once you are finished, we have all this remaining wrapping left, and we're just gonna freestyle it till we're done. So let's just say your knuckles, you realize that your knuckles have been feeling a little bit tender after your boxing. You can wrap your knuckles a little bit more, or vice versa, like with the wrist, maybe your wrists are feeling a little bit more weak. You can do the wrist a little bit more, or you can just alternate. And then now, from here, I'm gonna wrap all the way around my wrist to end, and then I'm gonna bring the Velcro up a little bit higher than the very end here, so that it won't slip down. Let's just say I did that. It won't slip down over time and kind of this Velcro part will start to get the skin. So we want it to go a little bit higher, and there we go. We have that range of motion. We're relaxed. It's not extremely restricting our blood circulation, and my thumb can move. Over time, you're able to adjust. That's all right. It takes practice, so don't be discouraged if it's too tight or if it's coming off. So practice makes perfect, and then of course you're gonna do the other side, and yeah, good luck.